Hi, welcome to the Kachmann Diabetic Show here, preventing, stopping, reversing diabetes. Wow, you mean, Dr. Kachmann, we can prevent those 20 to 40 diseases that are caused by diabetes? Yes, we can. And if you have it already, we could reverse probably 90% of it. Why aren't we doing it? Because when you meet your doctor, they rarely bring it up. But it's well described in many books, and I'll review some of them with you. It is my passion. After all, I am a physician, and the information I've done on these shows, I put on YouTube within a week. You can watch them again on YouTube, and I probably have on YouTube, Amazon, Facebook, 700 previous TV shows about wellness and health, and diabetes, probably 100. I got a phone call 2 months ago from the nation of India, the largest country in the world. They surpassed China. They have so many diabetics now, the largest number in the world, that the ambassador called me because they saw all those YouTube shows, and he wanted permission, which he didn't have to get, but he did, to translate those shows into different dialects and languages so people can go on the iPhone and get the information, because they do not have the doctors or the hospitals to care of these people. How sad. That's true in other countries too. I've had phone calls from the Congo, from Rwanda, and I'm sure China is not far behind. What the good news is, though, is that I have the information, maybe from the 2,000 books that are in my basement. Mm-hmm. And in the end, I'd like to donate those to the Allen County Public Library, for which I've had the pleasure from doing this TV show for years, so people can have ready access to them. Our local industry is doing very little to prevent, stop, reverse diabetes. Even public health hasn't really sent the message out there. They hired a doctor that works for one of the members of the industry, one of the biggest hospitals, well-run place, but in terms of preventing this disease, or reversing this disease, they've expressed very little interest. They will announce a Department of Diabetes, a Department of Obesity, and a Department of Wellness, but they're not really teaching wellness or prevention. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe they make more money if they don't really show you the bottom line. So let's review this a little bit today. And I encourage you to look at some of these books, which I will hold up to you. The original one I wrote up here is Prevention is the Cure. It can easily be prevented. We have to do the right blood testing at a very young age. Let me show you an example here. Special health message. If you want a copy of this, I'll get it to you. Look me up or find me. Maybe at the Divine Cafe. I'm there at noon on Fridays. You can get a copy. Let me read this to you. Everybody needs annual blood testing starting at age 3. It's been shown by a book I'll discuss a little bit by Joseph R. Kraft from Illinois many years ago. Why? Avoid most disease, greater than 90%. Avoid hospitalization, disability, and death. Look good and live to be 100. Yes, I know the science, but pediatricians get worried about your blood sugar at age 10 or 11. We need to test the children long before that. Let's look at the science a little bit. Joseph R. Kraft, who's not alive any longer, but you can see him on YouTube, age 96, and he's saying on that show, I'll be looking down upon you for many, many years before the world wakes up and we start teaching people how to prevent this disease. The information has been out there for years. Industry is making so much money. These companies that make metformin and insulin made billions. If you take insulin, which some type 1 diabetics need, we're talking about mainly type 2, which is about 90% of them, every time you inject to get the blood sugar down, the cells get fat and you get fatter. You want to get fat, take insulin. All the diabetics, overweight. Yes. Weight's the biggest cause of diabetes. You need to get rid of the weight. But anyway, what Joseph Kraft did, he even says, remember I talked about the testing? Should everyone be tested? Absolutely not. Only those concerned about their future. What is the future of type 2 diabetics? They grab their chest and they die, 50% of them. 50% who die of heart disease, grab their chest and they're dead. No symptoms, no warning, no angina, nothing. Cardiac surgeons, cardiologists help maybe 5% of the people. The rest could have their disease prevented and all the secondary effects of dementia and heart disease and thyroid disease and the blindness. The biggest cause of dementia, the biggest cause of Alzheimer's disease is diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome. That's what causes dementia the majority of the time. Alzheimer's disease is the end of your progressive memory loss for years. Yes, 2 or 3% is truly genetic, but genetic expression is by the food that you eat. Avoid the diabetes, and the genes you have for it may not go to work against you. Yeah. Read a book by the head neurologist at Cleveland Clinic called The Myth of Alzheimer's Disease. Wrote it many years ago. I have to read it. I talked to him on the phone, but he's not at Cleveland Clinic any longer now. But I even talked to him, so I wrote one after that called The Fraud of Alzheimer's Disease. Yes, that we're not teaching the people how to prevent it, indeed, is a fraud. So I call it what it's really all about. And what Joseph Kraft did, he was a pathologist who did autopsies on about 1,300 people, and he looked at the bottom line. He looked what really occurred to diabetics and their complications. So he saw it, then he studied about 14,000 people with other doctors, ran insulin curves on all of them, and for one thing, he found out that your insulin level is elevated 10 to 15 years before the blood sugar is ever elevated. But changes are really occurring in your body in this period where the insulin is up, but the blood sugar isn't up yet. The insulin punches holes into the vasculature. That's how the arteriosclerotic process starts. So I had my Medicare physical lab results yesterday. My serum insulin, I think it was like 4. The figure you should normally have is less than 17 or so. If it's higher than that, you're on the path to diabetes, but your blood sugar isn't elevated yesterday, and starting a program of eating the right food, losing a little bit of weight, and you'll never get diabetes. So prevention is not hard. It's not hard. So this book, a doctor could read in a night. Maybe a layman, 2 or 3 days, a great book to read. You can get the PDF on Amazon. Actual copies of the book, I bought 50 of them. I gave 49 away. I got one left. it doesn't appear they're printing them anymore, but maybe they are, maybe I don't. Other companies have got them, because I think this sort of is the Bible of health. It is, to read it. And what he's saying is normal fasting blood sugar, normal weight, normal cholesterol do not exclude you from being a type 2 diabetic. One of the undiagnosed millions, yes, I do mean you. I have a feeling that the Kraft is watching this show from above, because like he said, I've been looking down upon you for maybe even a century. But I'm making progress. I'm speaking with 2 doctors now from IU Health who are going to meet with me and maybe take this on as a program to test people early. And they are entering our market, and maybe I am getting something done there. And they study the insulin in different age groups, and if we started running serum insulins on little children, we would start to turn this epidemic around. I went to the children's zoo recently to look at black-brown panda, okay? But I noticed the mothers there with their children, 60, 70%, are seriously overweight. Are they all diabetic? No. Are most diabetic? Probably so, but at least they should get their blood tested and should their children. The children looked a lot better, partly because they're more active, the activity of living, their need activity, non-exercise activity. They may be burning a lot of calories, but they're eating their mother's diet, which will continue as adults most of the time. They'll be diabetic. We have a nation of probably 80, 90% diabetic. Mm-hmm. Public health is doing very little about it. They don't even bring it up. Mm-hmm. So how, suppose you do have it, and you might say, how do I get rid of it? Blood testing is critical. Even if you have normal weight, probably 20, 30% of diabetics of normal weight. What counts is the fat in the liver and in the pancreas, which is the one secretes the insulin. If there's fat there and the rest of your fat looks okay, you can very well still be diabetic. The beauty is you get rid of this fat and you won't be diabetic anymore. And that's not very hard. That's not very hard. If you do gastric bypass surgery, as Dr. Roy Taylor describes in this book, which I'm going to talk more about in a minute, from England, about 5 days, your diabetes is gone. Mm-hmm. But they're feeding you off a little stomach that's maybe no bigger than that. They're starving you, okay? There's an easy way to do this by losing weight. That is critical even in the thin people. What Dr. Taylor in his book would say, you got to lose 33 pounds no matter what your weight, even if you have normal weight, and your diabetes will be gone. And the easy way to me to do that would be to follow what I have designed here, my special health message, which probably you could find on the internet or in my books or ask me for a copy, is to eat about 60, 70% good fats, 20% protein, and the rest fruits and vegetables. Yeah, fruits and vegetables, the vegetarian way is helpful, but it'll get you to live a bit longer. I'm not totally against it, but if you want the clearest, easiest, and complete way, learn about what keto is all about. Suppose you're 100, 150 pounds overweight, read a book, Simply Keto by Susan Ryan. Remember I said you can get it at the library, or you can order it on Amazon, or you just buy the Kindle for a few bucks. What I like about Susan Ryan, too, incidentally, because eating, all of us, is partly psychological. Sugar makes us feel better, okay? And what she has, if you go to YouTube, Susan Ryan, simply Keto Karma, K-A-R-M-A, about 20, 30 YouTube shows come on there, and she speaks a lot about this and speaks quite a bit also about the psychology of eating. We use it, her and her husband, both significantly overweight, and they spoke about it, and she describes the psychological aspect of it quite well in her book. But if you go into the YouTube shows, you learn even more. It'll really, you can watch it again and again, and you begin to understand that about it. But what I like about her book, she lost 120 pounds. Look at her. Look at her. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay? So if you have a problem there, I do notice now, and she describes in the book, she has pictures of the recipes, 60 pages of explaining what keto is, the rest of, and she goes along with 3 meals a day. She counts the calories, tells you the protein, the carbohydrate, the fats that are in it, what a serving size is. It's a wonderful book. I've been talking to a church group in Fort Wayne. I just finished the 6th lecture of the series. We're going to think about expanding it. And there were significant people that were overweight. They followed only this book. They all lost weight. I all gave them a free copy of the book. They looked at YouTube shows. Another way to do it is if this, for some reason, you've lost only so much, maybe you need to make sure you're following it 100%. But another way is what I've been teaching, Rudy's Keto 16-8. I ate 16 hours you don't eat, 8 you eat, 2 meals a day. In my experience, that's the way I eat. No reason to, but I weigh 132 pounds today, and I seem to weigh that almost every day. And no matter what I'm eating, the fasting makes a huge difference. When you're in the morning, your body secretes hormones, about 5 of them, more than 5, but growth hormone, the adrenaline, the stomach hormone that makes you eat more, it goes down. Steroids get secreted, which increase your blood sugar a little bit. CCK, an enzyme in your duodenum, turns down the appetite a little bit. When you add those up, your blood sugar is like that. So you're not hungry in the morning. You're going to have coffee, water, tea, whatever. I played pickleball in that time. I'm not hungry at all. I ate around 11 or 12, and I ate around 6 or 7. You don't have to follow that rigidly, okay? But that's in all my blood tests yesterday that family doctor handed me back as part of the Medicare exam were all 100% normal. The next show I'll have them with me. I was going to bring them today and show them to you. I did last year. I showed it to you last year. All the tests are 100% normal. That's the way I want you to be, because I want you to be healthy. I'm a doctor after all, okay? So the Simply Keto, the 16-8, Rudy 16-8 Keto, a book too, that you can Amazon, that tells you all about it. In this book, I have this little circle around there because I mentioned what doesn't excite me is that the failure of public health has not told our population as to this information. Sugar industry pays our congressmen lots of money. The House and Senate lobbyists receive a lot of money from industry, drug companies and food companies, processed food companies. Cow's milk can accentuate the problem, and need to know what's good and bad in milk, because they have in them so many hormones, which they add to the cow in the cage, and then you give the milk to your child. And you're giving hormones to your child that were given to the cow. And medical schools don't teach proper nutrition. I went over there and asked them to give lectures on this so they could teach the medical students how to prevent, stop, and cure diabetes, not instant. And hard to understand. Hospital systems are no different. I've been there and knocked on every door. They may have a diabetic department. They may have an obesity department. But what they're teaching the people really isn't prevention. They call it prevention, but it's incorrect information. Another book and website you can look at is, I always like, gather more information. Life Without Diabetes, Professor Roy Taylor from England. Okay, you can get it online. Look at his YouTube shows too, and him and a Dr. Unwin, Unnwinn, I think is the other doctor. Those two are family doctors in England who saw increasing diabetic rate occurring among their patients, and England is, a closed, socialized system. You have a certain amount of money, you got to treat the people with that. And they found they've been able to tremendously reduce their diabetic population by teaching them proper nutrition. And the common denominator that Roy Taylor found in this book, that I don't care if you're thin, I don't care if you're overweight, you got to lose 33 pounds. You do that, your diabetes will be gone. How could you say that even in an overweight individual? Because the first fat to leave you will be the liver and the pancreas. Isn't that wonderful? That's what is preventing your beta cells that make the insulin wake up. Not everybody they will wake up, but majority do. And if you look at the books of Dr. Feng, F-E-N-G, from Canada, he has found pretty close to everybody the pancreas will wake up if you get the fat out of there. Even 30 years later. Yes, 30 years later, the pancreas will secrete insulin again if you lose that weight. So, and the way Dr. Taylor does it is by reducing the calories for 2 months that they feed the patient. I myself am not too hard on that. I prefer the Susan Ryan way, 3 meals a day, where you are, by the type of food, if you follow the 16-8 Rudy fasting, you get rid of your diabetes a lot quicker, maybe twice as fast. Okay, and what's beautiful is my 16-8. In the morning, I drink coffee. I go pick a ball or take a walk. Is that I'm not hungry. Okay, and I imagine, since I'm not hungry and I'm eating only 2 meals, my total calorie intake probably is a bit less. And if you pick a good meal, keto type food, then you be out quickly, really quickly. And once you're in ketones, after about 8-10 hours, you're in ketones. And ketones are, if your blood sugar goes down and you're eating good fats, okay, then the insulin level goes down, the fat cells open up, the fat goes to the liver and makes small molecules, smaller than sugar molecules, called ketones, made out of fat. But they make you feel great. So when in the morning, I used to think the reason I feel good is the caffeine. Well, maybe that's part of it, but the ketones make you feel a little better. So when I go play pickleball, I'm much more energetic, more happy, more faster moving individual. That's kind of interesting. Ketones do make you feel better. So I'm not that hot on Roy Taylor's restricting your calories to speed up your weight loss. Just switch to the fasting 16-8. You'll feel good. And he says, as long as you have the weight loss, it doesn't matter how you did it. And he says his endpoint is 2 months. But I say after 2 months of eating 16-8, you're going to have lost a lot of weight. To learn a little more about ketones, you can probably find a copy of this book or get it online. The Complete Keto Guide, the best you can be in 2023. You could probably get a copy somewhere that costs $14. And what I like about it is very thorough, has good pictures, has some recipes, has some desserts, and so that if you get that sweet tooth and you're addicted to sugar, which most of us are, it even has like a page here, Keto on the Go, things you can use on the go, for example, because we all have busy lives, okay? So there's a big page. Prepare soup on Sundays for a week's worth of lunches. How about that one? I love soups. And they have chicken and vegetable soup. It looks delicious. Tomato and garlic vegetable soup. I think I'll have some tomorrow. And the suggestion to make the soup to last a week. I mean, isn't this fantastic? And filling soups are perfect for a dinner party or supper for one. Okay, here's one. Here's a scoop on savory soups, sure to kickstart a keto diet and warm up even the coldest winter days. Here's a cream of broccoli and spinach soup and egg. Isn't that interesting? This is a wonderful book. It has recipes, easy cauliflower mac and cheese, and fresh quality ingredients make for meals even non-keto eaters will crave. Yeah, a savory casserole is a perfect make-ahead meal for hectic weeknights. So there, quite a bit on preparing meals on Sunday to make your life easier. I think I've given you a good summary here on how to prevent, stop, reverse diabetes. Look at other shows. Read some of these things. And if you want a real quick start, I think I'd go for this keto guide. That one will get you there like that. The recipes, the food looks delicious. I think I'll make one of these soups tomorrow. Thanks for listening to me, but I don't accept that you have diabetes. I'm for preventing it, stopping it, and reversing it. Why am I saying all this? I'm a doctor. Industry is making too much money. Yes, including the hospital system, the drug companies, our lobbyists, our congressmen, our public health are not doing their job. But I'm working at it, and I think if I can get those two hospital guys I'm talking about from Indiana University Health, which is coming to town, we will complete the job, because I asked them to be the leaders of this, not me, them. And I'm going to have dinner with them and provide them the information to do it with. There's 2,000 books in my basement, and I've read them all. So I do come, and anybody wants to talk to me and say something different, I already listened. But you better realize you're going to meet Rudy and 2,000 books. I do this because I love you, and I'll see you next time in about 2 weeks. This will be on YouTube within a week or 10 days. Namaste. Thanks a lot.